Hello families, welcome to our 9th grade pre-registration evening where we're going to be talking about all things related to getting promoted to high school, academic plans, high school graduation, your 9th grade schedule, CTE and dual enrollment, and your elective request options. My name is Mrs. Galbraith. I'm the assistant principal over high school core and performing arts. And let me take you through our mission and vision. The mission of Pinecrest Cadence, you know it by now, and the mission and vision become truer more than ever as we enter into that final stage into high school. Pinecrest Academy, Nevada unites the community to prepare students for college and career. We've said that for years now, but really, you guys are embarking on that final step, preparing for college and career. And our vision, scholars perform at the highest level on all academic measures. Our leadership team looks largely the same for most of the positions, a couple of different position people that you'll be in contact with. Me for high school core, Mr. Brennan is the assistant principal over middle school core, Mr. Rudden our principal, Ms. Purdy is our assistant principal over special education and electives. Ms. Donato, who you'll get to meet in just a moment, is our administrator over CTE. Mr. Coe and Mr. Crawford are our deans. Ms. Espy is our Safe School professional. Mr. Nielsen is the academic advisor for 6th and 7th grade. Ms. Giancola, who you all probably know by now, is your counselor for 8th grade currently and then in 9th grade as well. Ms. Thomas is the counselor for 10th and 11th grade, and then Ms. Cox, dual enrollment counselor. Ms. Peccolo and Ms. Chavez are our SPED facilitator and our school psychologist. And I will turn it over to Ms. Giancola.
Good evening. Thank you everybody for joining us. As Ms. Galbraith said, I am Ms. Giancola. I'm the 8th and 9th grade counselor. And first, before we start talking about high school, I just wanted to review the credits that we need in order to get to high school. So it's important that we review everybody's transcripts. It's required by the state of Nevada that we look at 7th and 8th grade combined to make sure students are ready for high school. Between 7th and 8th grade, students must earn the following credits. They need 1.5 credits in English, 1.5 credits in math, a full credit in science, and a full credit in social studies, and keeping in mind that each semester is worth half a credit. Okay? If you do not fulfill those credits, then you may be retained to the 8th grade or need to take summer school. Okay? So every time we start talking about whether it's like where you want to go next, or what are your plans for high school, or what are your plans for graduation, even as a parent, like thinking about, oh man, my kids are going to high school, it's kind of like, what is this about? What does high school look like? It's kind of like, where do we go from here? So we just want to like make it as simple of a process as possible for everybody. So that's why we like to have these meetings and like to bring you in and talk about everything to just kind of make sure you have the information to make the best informed decisions for you and your students. So with that, we want to begin with the end in mind. So thinking about your goals and where you want to end up after you graduate high school. So that is our process of academic planning. So academic planning is a fancy way of saying your students' intended course schedules for the upcoming school year. Every student works together with the school and their parents to develop their academic plan, okay? And we revise those plans every single school year because your plans can change, right? Your goals can change, your interests can change. So every year we sit down and we have one-on-one meetings with students. We get input from parents and guardians as to what it is that you have in mind for your students and their futures. Most importantly, these academic plans help your students to stay on track to graduate high school and also to help stay on track to reach their goals after graduation, those post-secondary goals, whether that's college, the military, working right after high school. So these academic plans are definitely individualized to each individual student. And like I said, these plans are a starting point. And as your interests change and your goals change, these plans can absolutely change, and that is okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cox, our dual enrollment specialist and 12th grade counselor.
All right, so I get to talk about a few fun things. So first of all, these are the credits that are required in order to graduate high school. So Ms. Giancola kind of reviewed your credits for middle school. High school is a little bit more challenging. There's a lot more credits that you have to earn. There's not a lot of room for missing classes each year. So it's really expected that students are passing all of their classes each year in order to obtain the credits needed for high school. So 24 credits over 4 years, that's 6 credits per year, and we have 7 classes per year. So math, gotta pass it. This is also going to be posted, this presentation, and the diploma types are also in our secondary course catalog, which is on the website. While there are multiple diploma types, we always start with our students on this college and career ready diploma because as Ms. Galbraith mentioned, we are preparing our students for college and career, and this is the diploma that does that. So it does have extra math and extra science to prepare them for going into college, which requires those. In high school, there's also some testing that's required of each student in order to graduate. CERT is the first thing that we do, and this is a preparatory test for students. They take 3 times per year. So similar to iReady in middle school, they take a test just like iReady, but instead of like looking at certain deficits, it's looking specifically at where they need preparation for the ACT. So ACT is a college entrance exam, but it's also an exam that the state of Nevada requires students to take in order to graduate high school. So that's listed there as well. So by having students do CERT, we're trying to help prepare them for that opportunity. A lot of families and students pay a lot of money for preparation for ACT, and this is a free program. So if students take advantage of it, they can really grow their scores. It's also used for determining enrollment into dual enrollment, which I'll go over in just a minute. Students are also required to take the state science exam. So it's an SBAC exam, but only for science in high school. So they don't have to do the normal SBAC in all the ELA reading math like they've done in middle school, but they will do for science. And then lastly, they have a civics exam, which they have to take their senior year. It's relating to government, civics, current events, things like that. So for dual enrollment, I'm the dual enrollment coordinator, so in charge of helping students to do this program. This is an opportunity for your students to earn high school credits while they're all going to college. So they're going to high school and college at the same time. However, instead of taking all their core classes here at Pinecrest, they'd be taking most of their core classes through the college. That program starts for students in 11th grade. However, how you do in 9th grade, your grades, attendance, behavior, that all affects your ability to be able to get into dual enrollment in 11th grade. So it's really important to start thinking about it now. Motivated students in this program can earn an associate's degree. Typically, the students that go, almost half of them are able to get that associate's degree before they even graduate high school. So it's a really great opportunity for those motivated students. So in order to get into dual enrollment, we do look at that 9th and 10th grade GPA. So like I said, 9th grade can be really important to that. In fact, a lot of the kids that are applying right now for dual enrollment, we only had their 9th grade GPA and a little bit of their 10th grade GPA. So they're kind of struggling because they struggled in 9th grade and now they may not make the GPA. So there was a question about GPA, so I'm gonna just review it a little bit for those of you that might not understand it. So the GPA is your grade point average. It's based on your letter grades. So an A would be 4 points, a B 3 points, C 2 points, and so on. And then it's just an average. So if in one semester you got all A's, that's 4 in everything, you would have a 4.0 GPA. If you're getting, B's, then you're going down to a 3.0 GPA. So right now we're looking at a preferred 2.75 GPA. So that is, mostly A's and B's, but if you had a C or something here or there, you can still have that preferred GPA. You do have to be on track passing all of your core classes, including Algebra 1 and Geometry. And then we have benchmarks for this cert, and they also take our writing placement test as well in order to get into the program. We also look at attendance and behavior. So as I mentioned, those are things in 9th grade to consider too, is that we really are watching students, and when you have behavior reports, it can reflect whether or not we feel you're ready for college when that time comes. For students that are potentially interested in dual enrollment and being on that pathway, something you could consider doing either this coming summer or following summer would be to take health online. Typically, health is scheduled for junior year for students, but the ones that are in dual enrollment, we prefer to have them take it before that, so that they don't have to worry about taking a health class on campus when they're already, focusing on going to college classes. So if you do decide to do that, it is an online class through our summer school program. However, you don't have to come in person to summer school when you're doing health. It's just an extra class, so you can just take it and work on it from home. And then we also recommend that students are on track with a language. If you are interested in going to a college, that most colleges do look at having 2 years of a foreign language. So even though it's not required for actual graduation from high school, it's not one of those credit requirements, it is recommended if you are a college-bound student to be on the path for taking a language. So if you haven't already taken a language in middle school, then that would be something to consider for your elective choice in high school. All right, I'm gonna turn it back to Ms. Gall.
We're just going to kind of go back and forth, kind of keep it fresh and keep you on your toes with who's presenting. So for our athletics, most of our athletics we offer NIAA sports. There's a list there. I won't read them all, so you can take a look at that, see if your student might be interested in that. There's more information on our website as far as what season these sports are in. Some academic eligibility requirements. Ms. Cox just talked about your GPA, so that is a 2.0 GPA. So that would be, nothing lower than a D across the board, and no more than one F at a time there. So hopefully we're all, both academic scholars and athletes in this room, and that's what we should strive to be. So those are our athletics that we offer and the academic eligibility requirements associated with them. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Giancola for more information on your schedules.
All right. So for next year, this is what a typical 9th grade student schedule will look like. So every student will take ELA in order to start working on those 4 credits of ELA. Every student will be placed in world history. Every student is going to have biology as their science, and then mathematics, and that will either be pre-algebra, algebra 1, or geometry honors. And those placements in regular or honors classes are done by grades, diagnostic scores, teacher recommendation, and seat availability. Those are not things that students can request. Those are just done by administration. And then you see that students are going to request a CTE track, and Ms. Donato is going to talk more about that. We have forensic science, we have cybersecurity, and then we have graphic design as your options. If a student does not want to take a CTE pathway, they can opt out if they meet certain requirements, and Ms. Donato will also speak on those requirements as well, and that will give them an extra elective. And then students will also be taking their physical education requirement in order to start working on those 2 credits. You can choose either regular PE or dance in order to fulfill that. If you are interested in getting an extra elective for that, you can opt to take PE online this summer, and that is a cost of $350. Okay? And then you get to choose your elective for that 7th class. So I'm going to turn it over now to Ms. Galbraith, I believe, who's going to talk a little bit about that physical education exemption and how some students might be eligible for that.
Okay, so beginning this school year, you can now earn up to 2 PE exemptions. Previously it was 1, now it's 2. So what that means is that you still have to take 2 credits of physical education, but what you're able to do is if you participate in a state-approved competitive sport in the 25-26 school year, so if you're in one right now or in one over the summer, that wouldn't count, but going into next school year, if you participate in one of those state-approved competitive sports, you'd be able to get that exemption as long as you complete the activity and you're in good standing. Your GPA is where it should be, you attend all of your practices, and you get that minimum number of hours for that sport. To be able to opt out of enrolling in that PE class, you would have to complete the forms found on the website, and that would go to Ms. Giancola for her review by February 7th. So mark that date down if you plan on playing a sport in the next school year. Should you opt out this next school year and you don't fulfill that, you don't end up playing that sport, or for some reason you're ineligible, we would just enroll you in PE to make sure that you have that credit the following school year. If that makes sense. Anything to add on that one, or are you okay? Okay, so for PE, all of you right now have health and PE, so you're able to wear those PE uniforms every day if you choose to. Here are the different electives that if, as long as you're in it, you're able to wear those PE uniforms. That would be PE itself, dance, weight training, band, or color guard. And those are still the same uniforms in high school as they are right now. Those new uniform bottoms that have either the Pinecrest logo or the black or red ones that have the crest on the thigh, those are permitted. Those are the only ones that are permitted, so make sure you pick up a pair of those if your student is planning on participating in any of these elective options. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Donato to go over more of those CTE requirements.
Okay, I am here to talk about all things CTE. At Cadence, we offer career and technical education programs, also known as CTE programs. CTE programs prepare students for careers in high-wage, high-skill, and/or high-demand careers. Successful CTE students can earn industry credentials and licenses such as Security Pro, Network Pro, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, OSHA. According to the Association of Career and Technical Education, CTE degrees can actually pay up to or more of $10,000 in salary per year than associate degrees. And CTE prepares students for the workforce across a wide range of industries and occupations. Anybody that is in CTE, there are some certain requirements that the state requires. Students who earn a CTE endorsement on their diploma, they can also earn CSN credits if they have a 3.0 GPA in the CTE track, and also pass the workplace readiness skills exam as well as the the end of program exam as well. As was discussed before, these are our CTE tracks that we offer at Cadence: cybersecurity, forensic science, and graphic design. All of these programs are a 2-year track, and you can look at the course catalog for the prerequisites and the associated fees. With this slide, I created a QR code for you, and there's also a website, so if you want to just take a photo, you can. What this is a survey that students can take, and it creates prompts for the students and asks them about their interests, what they like, dislikes, things like that. And at the very end, it'll guide them towards what CTE track it recommends for them. And then lastly, this was spoken a little bit about before, about opting out of a CTE program, but only if you meet these requirements. If you have a 2.75 GPA in 8th grade core classes, your iReady diagnostic is at or above grade level, and you have excellent attendance and behavior, and one more, a commitment to applying for dual enrollment. And then these opt-out forms are available on the website and due to Ms. Giancola by February 7th.
Hello again. Some of the performing arts options that we have here for high school, there is marching band. Some of you might be in concert band 1 or 2, or in color guard. Those two merge to form our marching band in high school. That is our only opportunity for a band. In the spring they have symphonic and winds. Color guard goes into a winter guard season separate from the band. For choir, we have concert choir and show choir. And then for dance, we have dance 1 and 2, which are also the PE credits that we kind of talked about throughout this presentation. And there's also dance team. Most of those programs, dance team, marching band, show choir, color guard, they all are audition based. So you'll want to make sure you check in with those to see which ones have auditions that are required. For performing arts, you're only able to participate in one performing arts program each year, and that's due to those levels being that first period of the day. And so you're only able to pick one because they all run at the same class period of the day. Marching band is eligible for a PE exemption, so if you're in marching band, of course you're welcome to take PE if you'd like to at some point, but it does qualify for that PE exemption, and like I mentioned, all high school dance courses count for the PE credit. So the difference between the exemption and the credit there. Okay. Pre-registration. Back to Ms. Giancola.
All right, so now we've given you all that information, and now it's time to pick your classes. Not tonight, but we want you to go home, digest this information, and then on Friday you will be sent that link to pick your elective courses or request your elective courses. As I mentioned, all core placements are made using those multiple data points. That means you will not be requesting your ELA, your math, your science, or that social studies course. And these elective requests, they are just that, they are requests. While we try very, very hard to give you your first choices, a lot of times it comes down to it just didn't work in the schedule. So they are not guarantees. When you are picking those requests, we want you to think about things like progression. So if you are in Spanish 1 now, continue on to Spanish 2, things like that. And think about those post-secondary plans that you have for yourself. Where are you headed to college? Does your intended college look for certain things? Think about your interests and picking electives that align with those interests. And these electives all have additional requirements, so we want you to make sure that you are fulfilling those requirements, like the performing arts. They may have teacher recommendation or audition components. If you're interested in applying for student council, then you do need to fill out that application, and I'll show you where to find those as well. Student cafeteria worker does require a health card and administration approval. And competitive robotics, even if you are in it this year, you still need to continue and fill out that application component. Requesting these electives does require that you complete those additional pieces. So all of these parts can be found on the website, pinecrestcadence.org, and then under that academics part, and then when you click on 2526 pre-registration, it's gonna take you to this page here. And we've said throughout the slides, if you visit this link on the website. So this is where you'll find all that information that we've been talking about, such as the CTE opt-out forms, as you can see there, the PE exemption forms, and then under that side there where you see 2526 course catalogs, you can find our full list of elective options that students have to take for next year as well. On Friday, so January 31st, is when we call this the academic plan with elective requests. They will be available on the Pinecrest website. That link will be live, and they will also be emailed out to families. I'm gonna go back just 1 second. The elective applications that I just talked about, those links are actually open now. So if any of your students are interested in filling out those applications early, they can go ahead and fill those applications out for like student council, robotics, any of those applications, they can go ahead and fill those out at this time also. Then February 7th, those academic plans with elective requests are due. So you have a week to talk with your students, sit down and talk about what your request choices are. And then February 11th, beginning that, counselors will have individual one-on-one meetings with every single student. So we start at that time, and then so we'll be meeting with every student. So it does take a couple months. So just give us patience, and then by about the end of April, we have our meetings complete. And then next, as it says, please be patient. A master scheduling does take time, and we do plan to have those finished schedules out by the beginning of August. So if anybody has any questions, do we want to open it up for questions, or we can just meet down here? Okay. So if anybody wants to stick around for any questions, we'll be hanging out down here. But other than that, if there's any particular slides you want me to scoot back to, I'd be happy to do that for you guys. But thank you so much. You guys have a great evening. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.